Adoption of Kubernetes within the industry is definitely rapidly improving. There are still obviously some places where it's not necessarily even the best one to go for just yet. Auto-scaling though in particular, and the security around microservices is improving time and time again. And I think, where do I think it's going to go? I'm not sure. I think there'll be definitely a lot more thought around where it's used, but I think as a whole, the adoption rates are increasing year on year, it seems. The pain points that most organizations find when dealing with Kubernetes or in general containerized applications is the inability for them to store persistent storage. I think that's one that's commonly used around sidecars, the need to be able to, after a reset, get back to where you were. I think there's certain tools getting around that, and also the biggest one is security, obviously. Being able to know where your dependencies are within your Helm chart or within your small application, and being able to know that the provenance of those is legit. That's definitely a big problem. Luckily, we have tools that can help with that, amongst many others. Some of the most critical risks are pretty much the same as every other server. Dependency management is absolutely huge. Finding malware within dependencies, finding dependency confusion, and helping to stop that. That's Sonatype's bread and butter. We are able to find out from different sources exactly where to stop all these different bad actors from getting into your system. So there's not much we're announcing in a big way at KubeCon, but there is something in particular that we've just started called Run Anywhere. This is the ability for us to run on-prem, but also within the cloud now for firewall, and soon to be some other products as well. Lifecycle, I think, is the other one coming up. Obviously, that will help within certain cloud frameworks, and it gives our customers a better option. What does Sonatype Nexus do? Essentially, it's a platform between repository, lifecycle, and firewall, and all of them work in conjunction together to essentially mitigate threats, in particular around dependency management, vulnerability issues, and potential malware that might be stored in bad repositories. What this also does is, from lifecycle, from a developer point of view, gives them access to be able to shift left certain components, and as a whole, they all work holistically together. So Sonatype has a system called IQ, which is essentially the data that we get to help identify quite a lot of these bad actors. In particular, it's not only from the National Vulnerability Database, it's not only from a wide array of open source technologies, it's also from the data that we have through Maven, which is also a fantastic open source project that we've controlled since the start of the company. In fact, it's why the company exists, to be honest. What all this data does is enable us, through machine learning techniques, to understand not only the known vulnerabilities, but also take opinions on things based on particular behavior of an open source repository. So, what can we do with Nexus within container image scanning? Well, Lifecycle and Firewall in particular will work in tandem to essentially prevent dependencies that are bad from getting in within our management system. We can also detect false negatives, false positives around that, which basically hopefully keeps the bad things out of your containers. I think we've seen from various customers that they have benefited from having Sonatype products within their lifecycle by reducing the fix rate that they have had to go through, in particular from a developer's point of view. Once they have that information, they can make certain choices, which might be that not always to go to the first, most recent fix, but actually something that might have been 5 versions back that actually solves their problem. This kind of thinking allows developers, and in particular wider AppSec teams, to be able to get on in productivity, but also use the benefits that the tools provide. So Firewall in particular works with the intelligence data IQ that also comes with it to block both known and unknown open source threats, and the main reason it does this is through machine learning, which is quite popular right now, but also through the vast data that IQ has that we touched on before. to make really good decisions. How does it integrate? We integrate with Artifactory and Repository both very well, naturally, and these, they'll fit into your lifecycle, I'm sure, very smoothly.